Most Wall Street analysts leave after 2 years. That is the unofficial rule. Do your time, get the name on your resume, then take the exit. But a small group stays. They become vice presidents, executive directors, sometimes managing directors. Years later, when someone asks why they never left, most of them cannot give a clear answer. You are one of them. Level 1. The year that looked perfect. You're 37, an executive director at an investment bank. Total compensation around $950,000 a year. Half of it is restricted stock, locked up, vesting over 4 years. On paper, your life looks impossible to improve. But this year you spend 31 weeks sleeping somewhere that isn't home. On your daughter's 5th birthday, you're in London, closing an acquisition. By the time the video call connects, she's already blown out the candles. She holds up a slice of cake. "Daddy, look." You tell her it looks beautiful. The signal freezes for 2 seconds. You never clearly hear what she says next. Your assistant, Dana, keeps a separate memo, a list of moments like this one, not to remind you to make up for them, just so you know what to say before you walk through the door. From the outside, your resume looks like something anyone would envy. From the inside, you've lost count of how many afternoons you replaced with one sentence. "Sorry, the connection is bad." Level 2. Your body knows first. You're 38 now. During a late-night call, the left side of your chest tightens. You blame the coffee. 5th cup that day. Coffee's cheaper than a cardiologist. Right up until it isn't. You finish the call anyway. The next day, it happens again. This time it lasts longer. You check your heart rate. 118. So you go in for a cardiac evaluation. The doctor, Sarah Otten, reviews the results and tells you something strange. Structurally, your heart is fine, but your cortisol levels, your sleep quality, among the worst 3 patients she's seen all month. She recommends 2 weeks off. You take 3 days. On day 4, you're back at your desk. The acquisition just hit final pricing negotiations. You tell yourself, "They can't do this without me." Your body understood the real cost of this job 3 years before you did. You just weren't ready to listen. Level 3. How the handcuffs actually work. You're 39. Your restricted stock has 1 year left before it fully vests. Remaining value, roughly $680,000. Here's how vesting actually works, in case you don't know. The award doesn't hit your account all at once. It unlocks gradually, over 4 years, 1 quarter at a time. But there's a catch. You have to stay employed. Leave early, even by a single month, and whatever hasn't vested just disappears. Doesn't matter if you waited 3 years or 3 years and 11 months. Gone. And this isn't some rare clause buried in your contract. It's standard across the entire industry. Here's where it gets worse. New stock gets granted every single year, so the awards start stacking. By year 5, 6, 7, you're sitting on 3 separate batches, all still unvested. Every year the pile grows. So does the cost of walking away. That's what golden handcuffs actually means. They don't lock all at once. They tighten, 1 year at a time. That same year, a colleague named Marcus resigns. He's 42. You've worked together for years. He leaves before his stock vests, walks away from $410,000. On his last day, you help him carry the final box to his car. Marcus turns and says, "That money can't buy back my son's 3 years of middle school." Then he adds one more line. "You've done the math too. You just haven't finished it yet." You don't leave with Marcus. You tell yourself, One more year. Collect the money, then reconsider everything with a clear head. What you don't realize? One more year is exactly the sentence the system was built to make you say. Level 4. The moment that breaks you. You're 40. Another quarterly review. Cross department. Standard stuff. You get to the second slide, and then 8 seconds of silence. You're standing in front of the room, and your mind is just blank. This time, you don't blame a bad night's sleep. That evening, you don't drive home. You sit in your car in the underground parking garage for almost an hour. The radio's on, some sports station. You're not actually hearing any of it. Later, you won't remember what you were thinking about. You only remember calling your wife and saying one sentence. I don't think I can keep doing this. The following week, you submit your resignation. You don't wait for the final grant to vest. You walk away from $290,000. Those 8 seconds made no sound, but they were the first time in over a decade your body refused to keep lying for you. Level 5. Money in the bank. Anxiety in the room. You're still 40. Net worth, over $4 million. Enough cash to live for a decade without working a single day. 3 weeks after resigning, a $780 home repair bill shows up. You lose sleep over it. You know exactly how ridiculous that sounds. That bill is a rounding error next to your savings. But the number was never really the problem. Your financial advisor, James, tells you this reaction is actually common. He has a name for it: income withdrawal. You're not running out of money. You're missing the paycheck. For over a decade, your sense of value was tied to a number landing in your account every month. Now that number's gone quiet, and your brain hasn't learned another way to prove you're still useful, still worth something. So James gives you an assignment. Write down what you do every day for 3 months. Not for productivity, not to optimize your mornings. You've optimized enough things already. The journal is meant to give you a different kind of proof. Evidence of your value that doesn't come from a pay stub. Your account balance barely moved. What changed is this. For the first time in 15 years, there's no paycheck confirming that you mattered today. Level 6. The failed attempts. You're 41. You meet with 3 recruiters. One of them, Chelsea, listens to 15 years of career history and then asks you one direct question. Are you actually ready to earn 60% less and start over inside a completely different reporting structure? You try to answer. Nothing you say sounds convincing, especially not to yourself. So you try going out on your own. You pool money with a former colleague, Owen, and open a small consulting firm. 8 months later, Owen wants out. He tells you something hard to hear, that you still expect everyone around you to work at the same brutal pace you learned on Wall Street. During one weekly meeting, you interrupt his presentation 3 times. You don't even notice yourself doing it. You thought you'd brought 15 years of experience out of that building with you. You had. But packed in the same box was the operating system that made everyone around you feel like they could never breathe. Leaving the building, that part was easy. Getting the building out of you, that was the hard part. Level 7. Finding somewhere to land. You're 42. A state university invites you to teach a guest course on mergers and acquisitions. The pay is modest, about $9,000 for the semester. You say yes, mostly because you want to know if you can still stand in front of a room without your chest tightening. After your first class, one student stays behind. She asks if every Wall Street job is as exciting as it looks in the movies. You don't answer that directly. Instead, you tell her about Dana's memo, the list of missed birthdays, missed afternoons, conversations you had to rehearse before walking through your own front door. She writes every word of it down. The following year, the university hires you full-time. You also start advising 2 small family-owned businesses. Your total income now? Roughly a third of what you earned at your peak. But when school lets out, you're there to pick up your daughter. That year, you miss it only twice. Level 8. The answer you still can't give. You're 45. At an alumni event, you run into Marcus again. He looks thinner than you remember, but somehow better. His son just got accepted into Marcus's own alma mater. Marcus tells you it's the proudest moment of his entire life, prouder than any deal he ever closed. That student, the one who wrote down the story about Dana, her name is Maya. This year she gets an offer to become an analyst at an investment bank. She comes to thank you, barely able to contain herself. Near the end of the conversation, she asks one more question, almost casually. You stayed way longer than most people do. What kept you there? You open your mouth. You want to give her a respectable answer, something about vesting schedules, family responsibilities, waiting for the right moment. But you stop yourself, because you know none of those explanations really hold up. So instead, you tell her the truth. I don't know how to answer that. I've been trying to figure it out for years. That same year, your accountant slides a spreadsheet across the table. You look at the line labeled after-tax net cash flow. The number isn't small, but the money isn't what stops you. It's the date. 5 years. 5 years since you walked out of that building for the last time. And for the first time, you feel like you finally finished the calculation. Even if you still can't answer the one question that started it all.